dreams just random images fired from an unconscious brain during sleep? Or something much more important, like life-saving inner guidance? How dreams can be healing and early warning tools for disease, financial crisis, or success. And love is still one of the behavioral science's greatest unanswered questions. Hello, I'm your host, author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Welcome to Dreaming Healing, where dreams and cutting-edge scientific research meet on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network. Dreaming Healing is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when you can call in and ask Kat questions about your amazing dreams. Talk on air. Call toll-free 833-220-1200. That's 833-220-1200. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Welcome to Dreaming Healing. I'm your host, Kat Kanavos. My name is Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, but hey, all my friends call me Kat, so I hope you will too. I'm so glad you're here. If you're only listening to us and you'd like to watch, this is a video podcast. You can go to my website. You can find me by Googling or searching Kat, K-A-T, the Queen of Dreams, or you can type in Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos.com, and that's Kathleen-O'Keefe-Kanavos. Or you can also search Dreaming Healing, and I will come up that way as well. Then when you get to my website, if you look in the left-hand corner at the top, you'll see a row of black buttons. And I think it's the second one from the left. Click that, and it will take you to my website on Dreamvisions 7 radio network. And you'll see the poster for the show, and right next to the poster, you'll see a little YouTube, like a TV. Click that, and you get to watch us, get to see us live. So the show tonight is Quantum Spirituality wins 13 awards. And you may have seen on one of my previous programs, we had the guest tonight, Peter Canova. He was talking about his book, Quantum Spirituality. It has barely been out a year, and it's already won its 13th award. But, many of us actually dream of writing a book, possibly getting it published, and just maybe winning one book award, but 13 awards in 1 year for the same book. Okay, it's 13 awards for this one book. Is that even possible? And how do you do that as a part-time job while you work on the Ritz Carlton in Miami Beach? How do you do that? Our guest tonight has done all that and much more, and he's not finished, and he's here to tell us how he did that. But before we do that, we have to do our meditation, our protection meditation. For those of you who have been watching my show now for a few years, you know what to do. For those of you who don't, it's easy. Just listen to my voice, follow my directions, relax, enjoy, and you'll feel so much better. So to start with, sit deep in your chair, and if you are listening to us on your car radio, don't close your eyes. This will still work. Keep your eyes open and just listen, but stay alert, okay? Sit deep in your chair, close your eyes, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths together, and we're going to blow them out into the purple flame of Saint Germain so that we are not littering any negativity. All right? Take a deep breath in, hold it. Imagine any negativity from this week going into that breath of life. Blow it out across the room into the purple flame of Saint Germain, and see it converted into beautiful golden light that goes up through the clouds, through the stars, up to the pearly gates, makes a U-turn, and comes back down at the speed of thought, the fastest speed there is, into our seventh chakra, and fills our whole body with that golden light from our toes all the way up to our nose, from our nose all the way back down to our toes. That light's just going up and down, pulsating. Again, deep breath in, hold it. Imagine something negative someone said to you this week or even this life that's been sticking with you, going into that breath of life. Blow it out right into the purple flame of Saint Germain. See it converted into beautiful light again. It's no longer negative. It's gorgeous light going up through the clouds, the stars, the planets, to those pearly gates, making that U-turn and coming right back down into our seventh chakra, our divine violet chakra of higher thinking and spirituality, and filling our whole body with that golden light. Feel it tingling. One more time, deep breath in, hold it. Blow it out. Anything that was left over that was negative was in that breath, and it's gone. It's gone. Watch it converted into beautiful energy, golden light, up into the sky, past the planets, up to the pearly gates, turning around and filling your whole body one more time at the speed of thought with golden healing light. Feel that light vibrating in your body. Feel it vibrating in your feet, your legs, your back, your shoulders. You're filled with positive energy. Now imagine holding a power gift in your hand. Your power gift can be your favorite stone, your favorite flower, piece of jewelry someone gave to you. Can even be a piece of jewelry you lost. It's now in your hand. And I want you to swing that power gift all around your body, building a mirrored bubble around you. That mirrored bubble is filled with that golden light. Only that which is of the highest and best and brought by your spirit guides and guardian angels may enter that bubble, and everything else is reflected back from whence it came. We wish it so, and therefore it is. When you're ready, open your eyes and join us again. Feel yourself coming back into your body. And until you're completely with us, just listen as I tell you about our guest tonight. Peter Canova has been researching early Christianity and other ancient spiritual traditions, as well as quantum physics and the nature of consciousness for more than 35 years. After a series of life-changing spiritual experiences, he began writing on spirituality and consciousness. The author of the award-winning First Souls Trilogy has contributed to the popular Chicken Soup for the Soul series and hosts a podcast, Quantum Spirituality, on Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. He lives in Florida. You can learn more about him at petercanova.com, and that's petercanova.com. And if you go to my website on Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, you will see his poster on my page, and his bio will be there, and the links to his websites and his book will be on there. You can click on those hot links and go right there. So welcome to the show, Peter Canova.
Hi, how are you today? Nice to be with you.
I'm doing great. So in your current best-selling book, Quantum Spirituality, you explore the perennial principles of Gnosticism, and you explain how they describe major theories of quantum physics, such as the Big Bang, parallel universes, the holographic universe theory, and Einstein's theory of relativity. And you reveal how to harness quantum spirituality for quantum empowerment. So, this book is just not you talking about this stuff. You're teaching the readers how they can harness this and use it in their daily life and access the higher levels of consciousness and manifestation. And as a result, it seems you have won a number of book awards. Is that right?
Well, yeah, actually, the Quantum Spirituality, the book you're talking about, won 13 various literary awards within the last, I think, 8 or 9 months. Prior to that, the fictional series that I wrote, which is the First Souls Trilogy, won 25 national and international book awards, including Best Book Series. So, what is that? 38 like altogether. But for the one that you're talking about now, it was that was the 13 awards.
38 awards in all for your books. And how many books have you written altogether?
4, 3 books in the fictional trilogy, The First Souls, and then my first nonfiction book is this one, Quantum Spirituality.
That's amazing. 38 book awards. And are all of these awards on your website? So can people go there, maybe even during the commercial, to fact check? Because I know my audience fact checks during the commercials. I can see the stats. So if they go to the commercial during the commercial break, if they go to your website while they're listening to the commercial, they can see all these awards you've won.
I believe they're all up there now. We were just going through a few website revisions with my website developer, and the ones for Quantum Spirituality, I think she has them up there now. I'm pretty sure the ones for the First Souls Trilogy are there. I haven't checked it recently, but they should be there. If not, they will be there shortly.
All book awards are very special, no matter what awards they are. But the awards you're winning are actually international book awards as well. Is that correct?
Both national and international, right?
So what are some of the bigger book awards that people may or may not know that you have won with Quantum Spirituality and also with your first trilogy?
Well, I think the Nautilus Awards would certainly be one of them. I think I've won a total of about 4 Nautilus Awards. That's a very stringent literary award because you have to go through multiple levels of judging to get the award. Eric Hoffer, I've won a couple of Eric Hoffer Montaigne Awards, Writer's Digest, International Best Book Award, the IPPY Awards. It's a number of them, but I mean those are some of the ones that people may be familiar with.
So Peter, when you wrote your book, we're just going to stick with Quantum Spirituality, and so that our audience can understand it, so they see it with you also. Can you actually hold your book up close to your face so that?
Let me see if I can get this right. Is that showing up okay?
Put it closer to your face. There it is, right there. Just stop. Perfect. Okay, that's it. That's the book that you want to see, because there may be some other quantum type books out there, but if you fact check and you start searching for them, okay, you can put it down now, Peter. If you're looking for that book during the commercial, that's what it looks like. It's a beautiful book. I think that cover is just gorgeous. That great big eye right there. So anyhow, when you wrote your book, Quantum Spirituality, did you write it with certain awards in mind? Which is kind of like asking which came first, the chicken or the egg. Did you say, I'm going to sit down and write a book that's going to win awards? Or did you write the book and then say, I think this can win awards? Or how did that work?
I mean, I never expected to win awards. And certainly when I was writing the books, that wasn't even a glimmer in my mind. I think that every author, if they're true to themselves, knows when they've written a good book. And when I say a good book, what does that entail? Well, first of all, I think it has to be a subject matter that you know is going to appeal to people. And in this case, in quantum spirituality, it's all about developing connections with higher consciousness to better your life. And I wrote this. I think what helped me is I wasn't just writing this from a theoretical basis, because what led me on to this whole career, or second career, because really what I am is an international businessman, but what led me on to the second career was some very vivid spiritual experiences that I had when I was in my 20s that changed the course of my life. And I found out I was an accurate medical intuitive. I had experiences with telemetry, telekinesis, remote viewing, psychometry. I mean, all these, what you call psychic phenomena, and premonitions. And I mean, I own this as a subject matter, and I wasn't writing about it from an intellectual or bookish standpoint. These are all experiences that I had been through. So all the information that I compiled in this book was done predicated off of those personal experiences I had, rather than just, kind of writing a theoretical type of book.
So you were using your personal experiences kind of in a storytelling sort of way, so that the whoever was reading the book could grasp these very abstract concepts on a concrete level. Would you say that's true?
That was the hardest thing that I had to do, because look, quantum physics, I mean, come on, it's counterintuitive. Tear your hair out. And reading the ancient Gnostic Gospels, especially in the original Greek, I mean, it took years and years to be able to understand what I was reading and put them in the proper context in order to break that down and clarify that to modern minds. And that was the real trick, is making it interesting, making it informative, and making it understandable. Because unless you have somebody that has a background in this, and I did these studies for like 35 years, predicated on my personal experiences. Being a Capricorn, I kind of, wanted to know the nuts and bolts behind, what was I experiencing here, not just having the experiences. And that's what led me at first to research ancient spiritual wisdom, and then subsequently quantum physics. And the nexus there is that both ancient spiritual wisdom and quantum physics really concentrate on three things, which is the nature of light, matter, and energy.
So the fact that you won 13 book awards for your quantum physics book, basically called Quantum Spirituality, tells me that you accomplished taking this really abstract concept and was able to boil it down and bring it down and write it in a way that the average reader could understand and go, oh, have light bulbs go off in their mind, and have them go, oh, that makes sense. Yes, I've seen that. Yes, I've done that. That's quantum spirituality, something they may never have thought of before. So, did you use any quantum spirituality in any way with your First Souls Trilogy? Is that weaved in there as well, or is this just in your quantum spirituality book?
Oh, no, I mean, actually, I wrote the First Souls Trilogy first, which is really kind of a page-turning international, what I would call spiritual thriller. The first book is called Pope Annalisa, about an African nun that becomes the first female pope at a time when America and Iran are going into a nuclear war. And then it traces the lives of these original souls that incarnated into materiality over different epochs of history, spanning ancient prehistory, like an Atlantis type of civilization, all the way up to, the near future, where this pope is facing, these great challenges. But all the research that I did in order to create the themes of that book, I had, almost 40 years of research compiled. And I said, wow, why don't I take all that and put it into a non-fictional book that more directly talks to people about how to have experiences with consciousness. I mean, they're both different formats. One is entertaining, and you sort of get the message by osmosis, by living through the characters and the action and the adventure. The other one is more direct and more didactic, more instructional. But since I had all that research available, I said, why let it go to waste? Why don't I compile this and and present these ideas of how reality operates, not just through kind of a spiritual, treatise like a lot of people write, but to actually juxtapose spirit and science and psychology, and other disciplines, to cross-reference and show how they're all pointing to the same thing. And I think that's very powerful because it appeals to both the left and the right brains. It appeals to the logical, skeptical minds, and which is the scientific and psychological part, but it also appeals to the sort of more intuitive feeling type of mind, which is the spiritual part. And it's all kind of pushed together in this book.
So do you feel like you had to use both your left brain, your logical brain, and your right brain, your artistic, psychic brain together to write these books?
Tests that I took showed that I'm kind of like the perfect bi brain. I operate off of both sides. So yes. And, I think, you asked a question before about, what makes a book successful, able to win awards. And it's difficult, but if I think about it, maybe it breaks down to a couple things. Number one, you want to have a subject matter that interests people, that people relate to. Okay. And in terms of quantum spirituality, that is, how do we get here? What's our purpose here? And where are we going? I mean, I address those questions, and I think everybody's interested in that, ultimately. And then you have to be able to write well, which means to communicate to people in a way that they understand. But I think, honestly, more in a way that moves them. I mean, I think good writing is an emotional connection, even nonfiction. Okay, certainly in fiction, absolutely. You have to emotionally connect with the audience through the characters and the action and so forth. But even in nonfiction, and parts of this book are written a little bit like a story. But I think that you have to find a way to really get to the heart of things that people are thinking and feeling and worrying and concerning themselves about, and that this book addresses a lot of deep issues that would meet that. So I think having a subject matter of interest, emotionally connecting with your audience, and writing with a clarity, a good enough craft of writing, I would say, in order to communicate that in a package that people can swallow and digest. I think those are three elements that, really probably had a lot to do with all the awards that the book has won.
Well, that, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of that. But when we come back, we're going to be asking Peter to give us some advice. We're going to touch on the psychic phenomenon a little bit more. And I'm going to talk about something that I discussed with his PR agent concerning his books as soon as we take this quick break. So don't go away. You are listening to Dreaming Healing on Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. I'm your host, Kat Kanavos. I'm glad you're here, and we'll be right back.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love Crying and Laughing Through Mayhem to Miracles. Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velarde's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dreamvision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
In a world facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust to learn her astonishing secret. Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to Dreaming Healing on Dreamvision 7 Radio Network. I'm your host, Kat Kanavos, and we're speaking with author Peter Canova about his book, Quantum Spirituality, that has just won its 13th, yes, you heard me right, 13th book award. And he was talking about how he used psychic phenomenon, his personal experiences with psychic phenomenon in the book, and also in his first trilogy. But I happen to know from speaking with his PR agent that his first book that he wrote, Pope Annalisa, which is the first book in the trilogy, he had to keep rewriting because his psychic phenomenon that he was using in the book and his projecting into the future were catching up to the book and becoming history, even though it had been written before it happened. So, Peter, can you address that?
Yeah, that was interesting. In fact, Om Times Magazine did an article on the predictions, the geopolitical predictions in Pope Annalisa that came to pass. The first Gulf War, Iran, going nuclear, on the path to going nuclear. The fact that there was the first third world pope who took her own name rather than took a typical papal name, which is exactly what happened with the current Pope Francis. Just about everything except for the fact that the Pope wasn't a female. So many things came to pass in the book. So yeah, a lot at times I had to keep rewriting it because before I was finished writing, the history kind of caught up with what was in the book. So I had to keep changing a few things around. But that was really honestly, the only thing I can describe that is channeling, just channeling information. Sometimes I told my PR agent that I kind of feel dishonest sometimes. I almost didn't feel like I wrote the book at certain points, that somebody else was writing it for me. So it was very interesting.
Yeah, so many of our writers do have a psychic side. They keep it quiet. Can you address that? Can it be a little offsetting to others? And did you ever feel like you had to kind of hide that spiritual side of you, that psychic side of you, so that you would be taken seriously as a writer? Because I know that you're trying to get Pope Annalisa, you're working on getting Pope Annalisa into either the movie industry or the TV industry. So how, I mean, you wouldn't go up, how, tell us how you work that into those conversations with professionals in the movie industry.
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't really personally have those conversations. The people that are working for me, have those, and I guess they probably gauge their audience and, see if, would this make sense? Honestly, I don't think we play that up very much. Not because I'm afraid of people getting spooked or anything like that, but because most people just can't understand it unless they've experienced it. Unless you've had your own personal contact with higher consciousness, it's just words to you. It's somebody else's story that they're telling you. But if you haven't been there yourself, it's very hard to really absorb it at a gut level and take it seriously. So I just let all that speak through the books, and I don't really address it and say, hey, I had all this psychic stuff happen to me, and it doesn't really happen like that. And in the business world, I don't obviously talk about it very much, but I employ the visions that I have also in the business world. I'm involved in a very large project now in Miami. It's a privately initiated urban renewal project of the entire city center of Miami Beach. We've got the public involved and brought the state and the city and everybody in off of plans that I originally did, but it was really kind of off of a vision I had that led me to the right information, that led me to be able to explain to the people in the city the reason why this had to happen and articulate that. It just all comes to me, I can't really explain it. It's thoughts through my mind, and then I pursue those thoughts and I fact check those thoughts, and it turns out most of the time, sure enough, it's on the money.
That's amazing. So for those people who maybe are writing their book right now, and they're thinking, gosh, I never really thought about book awards. I'm just trying to get chapter 3 written. What advice would you give them for book awards?
Well, first of all,
if they wanted to print, how did you find them? How did you contact them? What did you do?
well, you can just Google, literary awards or book awards, and you'll come up with lists, and there'll be descriptions of the ones that are, good, legitimate, whatever. That's not that difficult. I mean, that's just a matter of doing, just plain old research. As far as winning the awards, don't think about that. Don't write a book thinking you're going to win an award. Write a book that you feel good about, because if you feel really good about it, it's like I said, if you feel good about it, if you communicate if you have a message that really resonates with people, and you make that message clear through your writing, and you write with clarity, and inject emotion into it. The most inspirational parts of my book were recalling emotional things that I went through, that I experienced in my life. I guess it would be like, okay, how does an actor emote on the screen in a really convincing way that's Academy Award winning? Well, personally, I would think they would call up on their past personal experiences, tragedy, loss, joy, elation, those times that you had human experiences that moved you. Well, guess what? If they moved you, they will move other people. You just have to find a way to incorporate that, if you're doing fiction, into your characters and into this, into the scenes, or if you're writing, nonfiction. There's still, many ways that you can take a subject matter that's interesting to people, and you find a way to communicate that, but play to people's feelings, not just to their heads, not just to their minds. Play to their hearts.
Mm-hmm. And I know that I was on your website looking at some of the video work you did with quantum spirituality, Pope Annalisa, and they were very moving. How, just as you did with your book, you brought that experience and you brought that emotion into words. I've had authors ask me, how do you grab, trap, and put that emotion into your writing without becoming so emotional, it takes you down a dark rabbit hole you can't get out of. And I know that you have some parts in the book where it's extremely emotional.
Well, I think there's a process in writing. And when, let me take an example for Pope Annalisa. I probably had 12 different versions of Pope Annalisa. It was like layers of a cake, creating layers of a cake. What I would do is I would write scenes, and then I'd just forget about them. I'd leave for a month, and then I'd go back, because you're a little bit more removed from the material and you can read it more like another person would read it, not just yourself. Because when you're involved in the writing, you're so involved, it's hard to get out of your head. It's hard to get out of the box. It's hard to get out of the scene. It's like you're a computer programmer, but you're caught in your own program and you think you're one of the characters. So you got to get out of that mode of thinking. And one way to do that is to distance yourself a little bit. Write a first draft of your book. Let it gestate for a while, come back 6 weeks later, and look at it, and you'll look at it with new eyes, and you'll probably rewrite it. And so I rewrote, Pope Annalisa numerous times. Funny, I think as I went on to the other two books, the 13th Disciple and the Light of Distant Suns in the trilogy, I probably did that process a little bit less. I don't know, maybe I had trained myself by that time, but I do think, sort of stepping out of yourself to look at it when time goes by, as a reader would look at it as opposed to you.
Mm-hmm. So your books, if you are an author and you have written, let's say you have written a self-published book, or another author has written a hybrid book, and another author has written a conventionally published book, does it make any difference when you send your book in to the awards, the different book awards? Did you ever find that there was anywhere in there that said, well, if you're self-published, do not send a book, or anything like that? Or can anybody send their books in?
It depends. It really depends on the awards. It's a mixed bag. I mean, like for the Pulitzers, I believe you have to be a published author. So, my publishing company sent my book into for the Pulitzer. Other books are strictly for self-published authors. Other awards, we'll do like a kind of a mixed bag. They'll take them both from self-published and from publisher sources. So you just have to be careful when you're looking up the book that you read the entry qualifications. And but it really like kind of is a mixed bag depending upon the particular literary award.
And can you only send books that you have published that year into book awards, or are there certain book awards that will take books that were, I don't know, published like 10 years ago or 5 years ago?
I don't think that long. I most of them want you to have them entered in the year of the award, the publication, the year of the award, or possibly a year prior, maybe. Going back 2, 3, 4 years, a lot of them will not accept that with publication dates that are that old. Generally speaking, you're looking at either the year of or possibly the year prior.
Okay, so those of you who maybe you've gotten your book published now, they can actually go online and check to see what book awards, because let's say they published their book, but they haven't seen this episode of Dreaming Healing yet, and they go, oh my gosh, my book's a year old now, but I really think that my book is good enough to win an award. They should go online and check to see what book awards will take a book that is published maybe 2 years out or 3 years out. Do you think it's worth it?
Well, I mean, sure, anything is worth it. But I will say again, 2 and 3 years, my experience is that most of them will not accept 2 and 3 years. Now, it's 2024. If you go online now, you can see when they're accepting submissions for 2025. So, I mean, generally there's a year's lag anyway. Okay, so like if you're going for a 2025 award, for the most part, you're going to submit it in 2024. So your book is probably going to be dated in 2024. You just have to watch, because they don't just have like open submissions year round. They call for entries at a certain time. Like in September or November, or whatever the case is, they open it up, and then they open it up for a limited period of time. It may be, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, whatever. Again, they all have different guidelines. You really just have to read the guidelines for each of the awards.
Well, it's time for us to go to a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to ask Peter how winning awards can help an author with their profession as a writer, or also maybe possibly their profession in life, whatever it happens to be. Because let's face it, most of us who are authors have another job also. Very few of us reach a point where we can give up our daytime job, although there are some that can. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that. Don't go away. You are listening to Dreaming Healing on Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. We'll be right back.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide. Darkest hours to brightest moments. Transformation from despair to happiness. And chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to Dreaming Healing on Dreamvision 7 Radio Network. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, but hey, my friends all call me Kat, so I hope you will too. If you're just tuning in for this last part of our show, hope you'll go back into the archives and listen to the whole thing. We have author Peter Canova on with us today, and he's talking about how his book, Quantum Spirituality, has just won its 13th book award. Yeah, that's right. 13. And he was giving us some tips on different book awards, how to go about finding them. And so now I want to ask you, Peter Canova, whether or not winning all of these awards help you and how?
Well, I think they do. For one thing, writing is a lonely profession. For the most part, you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder saying, hey, that's good, that's bad. People will understand this, that's clear, that's not clear. I mean, you're basically sitting in isolation writing, and you're kind of free floating. You never really know how it's going to be received. So it's kind of a validation for you. And I don't mean a validation in terms of ego. I mean more like a validation in terms of the fact that all that effort you put in and the way that you tried to, capture a good subject matter, to make it readable, to make it to make, to have the audience really connect and embrace it. That gets validated by winning these book awards. So you kind of know you're on the right track. I know when I started out, okay, I had no writing experience whatsoever. Fortunately, I had a knack for writing because I think when I started out at writers' conferences, when I was first trying to learn the craft of writing, all the ones I entered, I won something at, and that spurred me on to say, okay, maybe I can write. Maybe, I've got something here that people, can relate to, and I'm not just writing in a vacuum to find out that I'm just writing for myself. Although I will say, at the end of the day, in all honesty, I think all writers write for themselves. It's kind of a catharsis. We have a real writer has something, a message or something they really want to get out there. They want to get out from themselves and communicate to the world. So in a way, you can certainly say that ultimately we write for ourselves. But we also want to know, I think most of us would want to know, that we write stuff that's interesting and informative and helpful to other people. And that's where I think awards can, validate what you're doing. And if you're a new writer, can spur you on. I remember I wrote a short story for Francis Ford Coppola's American Zoetrope website, and I came in first out of 500 entries. So, right away, I mean, that gave me a real boost and said, okay, maybe I'm not wasting my time doing this. Leaving some money on the table in my regular job, but maybe I'm not wasting my time doing this. So, it can be very helpful and validating in different ways. And yes, certainly if you get to the point where I am now, like I'm looking to get one of my books into a TV series, the fact that you won all these awards, I mean, people take notice of it. It helps. I'm not going to say it's going to get you over the hump to get you into a TV series, but it helps establish some credibility that you've got something there that people like, and that's, after all, what is movie production companies and TV streaming networks want to know. Do I have something that's marketable? Do I have something that people are going to relate to?
Mm-hmm. And do you find that when you win these awards, it gives you an opportunity to reintroduce your book, almost like you're introducing it for the first time because it's won another award? So it gives you the ability to put it back out there as almost new and collect more viewers and more readers for your book, because now you could say, hey, 13, and people are going to go, well, my gosh, 13, there's got to be something to this.
Well, yeah, I mean, providing that you're out there marketing yourself, or you have a PR agency, or, appearing on shows like yours, you have outlets to appear on shows like yours. Yeah, of course it does that. But I mean, if you're not marketing your stuff, then nobody's going to know that you won a gazillion awards. You have to have the outlets to get the information out there. But assuming that you do, the answer to your question is yes, it helps.
Mm-hmm. And so some of your outlets, not to toot your horns or anything, but I guess I can. You are a columnist in BizCat 360 magazine, so you're able to put information in there for readers to see that this is a book worthwhile reading, because everybody's so busy right now. And you also have a video podcast. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I do write BizCat. I've been a columnist at Pathos, and I do have my Quantum Spirituality podcast, which is on the same network that you use, Dreamvisions 7 out of Boston. And quantum spirituality is really, it's really about consciousness. I mainly deal in subjects that somehow relate to consciousness. Not always exclusively, but you find out that consciousness is really the basis of life. So almost anything that you do, whether it's dreams or UFOs or whatever, involve consciousness and involve studies of reality. What is reality all about? So the book covers, I should say the podcast covers a broad range of topics that relate to things like that. And in fact, I think I've had you on my show in the distant past talking about dreams, which is, a perfect subject to come under the umbrella of what we cover, because after all, what is dreams? It's a form of consciousness, right?
That's absolutely right. And I just wanted to remind everybody, the foreword of your book was written by James Redfield, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I just wanted to read a couple of sentences by Dr. Bernie Siegel, who is the author of No Endings, Only Beginnings, and he's a New York Times best-selling author. He says, quantum spirituality stirs me in a special way. I love Peter's concepts relating to the mysterious and mystical aspects of life. It resonates with my own experiences. So it's not like the book, the experiences you talk about in quantum spirituality are like off the wall or so different that nobody's going to be able to relate to it. Many people relate to this. And James Redfield in the foreword says, this ambitious and fascinating book is a succinct message to all of us. That's the very first sentence he writes. And he goes on to write like 3 pages in the foreword because he loved the book so much.
Yeah, well, James was very kind to do that. He really did like the book. I mean, look, James is one of the best-selling authors in history. The Celestine Prophecies, I remember when that came out when I was quite a bit younger. I mean, that was one of the formative books of our time. I was very honored that James and Bernie Siegel and Betsy Chasey, but the bleep, people like that, embrace the book. It was, I was really very gracious of them to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to give a shout out to everybody when you get this book, or if you have bought this book on Amazon, please go in and write a comment on Amazon. Do you want to tell them how to do that, Peter?
Well, yeah, if you buy from Amazon, they have a section. It's a button there that says write a review, and they give you a chance to rate it from 1 to 5 stars. And if you want to write a review, I think about 3/4 of the reviews that I have are 5 stars, and most of the rest are 4 stars. I have a few people that don't like it. I think that's mostly because when I get into some of the pitfalls to watch for against higher consciousness, I'm not an author who just writes a lot of theory and doesn't bring it down into reality. A lot of authors, in fact, probably the majority of authors, avoid that because they're afraid of offending somebody, or they don't want to get into the mud of everyday living and politics and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I cover pitfalls to watch for, I talk about things like political correctness and cancel culture, and that those worldviews are really not very beneficial to free thinking and to developing, clear levels of consciousness. Now, for some people, I guess they resent that if they have a certain political orientation. They don't like to hear things like that. But you know what? I'm being faithful to what the Gnostics tried to teach us, and that is one of the most important things to enlightenment is freedom of mind and freedom from illusory things that sound good but really divert us from our spiritual path. So in my book, I try to identify some of those pitfalls for people to avoid. So it stirred up a little controversy, but controversy is good, and I think that it's always good for people to get out of their own little ideological box sometimes and take a look at things.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we've come to the end of our show. And I'd just like to share with our audience some upcoming events. We have the Read, Write, Relax, and Get Published. It's Spirit at Sea Dreamies Writers Conference Cruise again. And Peter's going to be one of the presenters on the cruise. It goes from and to Seattle to Alaska round trip, and it's going to be August 24th through the 31st, which is the last week of August and the first week of Aurora Borealis. So if you've ever wanted to go to Alaska and see the Northern Lights, this is the cruise for you. It is a combination of dreams and writing, and we're going to have presenters like Peter on board. You can find out more about that by going to my website, KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com. And the poster's up there. It'll answer all your questions. And if you still have more, you can call Michelle at 800-658-6869. So that's 800-658-6869. The cruise is filling up so quickly. It's amazing. So don't wait. Hurry, because the early bird gets the cruise and published. We have BizCat 360, who is one of the sponsors. We have Dancing Word Literary Group, who's also a sponsor. We have fantastic sponsors. And if you're an author, this is the cruise you want to be on. So until next time, remember, everybody dreams, but some dreams save lives. Thank you again, Peter Canova, for being with us tonight.
Yeah, it was great to be with you. I'm looking forward to the cruise. Just to let people know, you're talking about August of next year, not this August.
Right, 2025. Yes,
Okay.
a year from now. And it's already filling up, so don't wait. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for joining us this evening. And a big thanks to our producer. Tune in next time to Dreaming Healing for more cutting-edge research, live dream interpretations, and stories with radio host and award-winning author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Listen every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time with call-in live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network. Remember, everyone dreams, but some dreams save lives. Live your dreams. Find more about Kat at KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com. That's Kathleen with a K. OKEEFEKANAVOS, or The Queen of Dreams on Google search.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.